Today we're talking about Alien Earth Episode 5, which finally gave us an answer to what happened on that ship. But now, there's other even more important questions we have to answer so we can fully understand and appreciate this episode. So I've rewatched this episode, analyzed all the scenes, tuned into the online conversation, and watched other breakdowns as well. So let me tell you, this video is not just about pointing out Easter eggs. Because in order to fully understand and truly appreciate this show, we have to look at these 6 questions, so that when you're done with this video, you'll know what the episode is really about. With that being said, let's break it down. Alien Earth has caused a lot of chatter online, and a lot of people are talking about T.Ocellus. T.Ocellus stood out because of its intellect and the awesome fight with the xenomorph at the end of the episode. But we still don't really know what T.Ocellus' motivation is. However, we're given some hints at what it could be. We know from a prior episode that T.Ocellus is ridiculously smart. And in this episode, we see it observing the bug specimen to see how he could get out of his own cage. It even goes as far as it distracting the doctor so that the bug specimen could get loose, because it knows that during the chaos it'll have a higher chance of escaping. But there's also a theory that T.Ocellus was trying to warn the doctor that the bug specimen was trying to escape. I personally don't see it that way, but I don't want to dismiss the theory completely, because if it's true, that could lead to a lot of interesting conflict down the road. But what gets shown to us when it gets loose is its true motivation, which is to become the alpha. When it goes around the xenomorph, the first thing it tries to do is take control of it, because it knows with its own intellect, if it could control the perfect physical specimen like the xenomorph, it would be unstoppable. But what T.Ocellus doesn't know is that the xenomorph might not be the best specimen to take over. What is that specimen? A hybrid. If T.Ocellus was able to take over a hybrid, it would be physically superior and it would be able to live forever. Not only that, it will also answer a plot point that got brought up in a previous episode, which is that it would be able to have the conversation Kavalier wants to have with something or someone smarter than himself. So we have a lot of hints of what T.Ocellus' motivation could be, but what do you think it's trying to do? Leave your theories below to add on to the conversation. But also, if you love Alien Earth and you feel like you have no one to talk to, go ahead and join the Real Spot Discord. In there, we talk freely about shows without having to worry about all the hate that comes from talking about it online. We'd love to hear your takes in there. The link's in the description and the comments. Now, as we know, T.Ocellus isn't the only specimen that escaped in this episode. And that begs the question, how was the crew making all of these mistakes? If it wasn't for the crew doing all these errors, none of this would have happened. You may think this happened because they were just being clumsy, being stupid, being negligent. But in reality, I feel like it had to do with something that's a deeper theme that continues to show up in this show. Every episode, the show asks us, what does it mean to be human? I think all the mistakes the crew are making fit into that question. It's to show our humanity. It's to show that we make mistakes. It's to show that we aren't perfect. And sometimes that could lead to our downfall. Raheem made a good point when he said this.
It means this space bug is proof of how stupid smart people can be. Smart enough to build ships capable of space travel, of splitting the atom and decoding the genome, but too stupid to realize you don't bring parasites home with you.
And he's right, humans being stupid led to this whole event. But does that make being human bad? Does that make us unworthy? Should we all just become hybrids? Should we be replaced by synths? Or do we just need to accept that things don't go according to plan even with our best effort and our best intent? And with that being said, we always see how Morrow struggles with his own humanity. And at the beginning of this episode, we're still wondering what happened to Morrow's humanity. And after all this time, we've finally been given an answer. But what does that say about him as a person? It's revealed that Morrow's daughter died when he was in space on this mission. But before that, we see him full of life, full of connection. But after his daughter died, it seems like he lost all of that, and now his sole purpose in life is to finish this mission. But is that true? Or is there more of a reason to his motivation for wanting to get this cargo back to Earth? In the scene with Zevari, they go back and forth where this is said.
Fine. Let's go see Mother together.
You talk to the computer. My orders are from Yutani herself. Nothing matters but the cargo.
It's ironic that Zevari said they need to talk to Mother, because Morrow says he got his orders specifically from Yutani. And we learn that she is essentially his mother because she picked him up off of the street. And then we learn that's why he's so obsessed with getting the cargo back to Earth, because of that loyalty he has with his mother, because she saved him from being a sick kid on the street.
I told her I'd bring the specimens home, and I will.
And you may think that's sweet, but to me, honestly, it's horrible. This show has shown us time and time again how these adults are manipulating kids with disabilities. Kavalier uses disabled children to make his hybrids. Yutani used Morrow, and Morrow himself is using Slightly. And now Morrow ends this episode with the resources to do whatever he needs to do to get his job done. So what does all this say about Morrow's humanity? It shows that there's a piece of it left in him. But just as a part of his body was replaced with a machine, it seems that a part of him internally, emotionally, and spiritually has been replaced as well. To contrast that, it seems like Zevari has her humanity completely intact. But is that a good thing? Because through Zevari, the episode asks us, is showing humanity a bad thing? There's a stark difference between how Zevari and Morrow handle the crisis in this episode. Every step of the way, it's clear that Zevari wants to put her crew first, where Morrow wants to put the cargo first. Not only that, it gets shown as a weakness that she has a connection with Bronsky. Morrow said that it's making her distracted, which in all fairness, it does end up distracting her. When she was supposed to freeze Bronsky, she got distracted by pouring the sand on him instead. But is that her fault? Someone she loved died. I think we'd all be distracted. And once again, this is asking us, is humanity bad because it's flawed? We see Zevari later on freeze and panic when Malachite dies. And because of that, Morrow comes in and takes control of the ship. But is Zevari weak or bad because she cares about her crew? Yes, they were in a crisis and Morrow was able to stuff his emotions down and get his objective done, which was to save the cargo. Yes, it led to his survival, but is that healthy? Can he keep living like that? What's it mean if you survive but can no longer feel anything? Zevari was used to contrast Morrow's obsessive nature with getting his objective done by showing us some humanity through Zevari. And to me, she wasn't weak for being human. And talking about humans, there were a lot of them on this ship. And why was everyone on this ship? They were there for a paycheck. But the question that's posed to us is, what were they willing to give up to get this money? That's what we're asked with this dialogue from Schmuir.
Kid, when I left, my wife was 31. She looks like my grandmother now. She says, that's what they're paying you for. It's not the work. It's 65 years of your life equals a quarter of a share.
This idea carries through all the storylines, especially Morrow's, giving up everything back home to provide for themselves and their families. And to do that, they essentially had to say goodbye to the loved ones they had in the life they knew forever, because they were going to be gone for 65 years being frozen in cryo sleep. And they did all that to barely get paid anything. Poverty is a crushing force, and it's such a force that it makes people have to make terrible decisions just to stay alive. So the answer to the question of what the crew was willing to give up to get on that ship, everything. And why is a system in place that exploits people like that? It's because of people like Kavalier. And after it's revealed to us that Kavalier is the reason that the Maginot crashed on Earth on purpose so he could get the specimens, we're left with this question. What exactly is his fascination with these specimens? Why does he want them? Earlier, it was brought up that he wants them to conquer and to study. But I don't believe that. I think he's hiding his real motives. Whenever Kavalier talks, you can tell he's hiding his true motivation and he's just manipulating everyone around him. And in a funny way, he does that to us as the audience as well. I think somehow his desire for the specimens is connected to the hybrids. I think he needs the specimens to cook up whatever he's plotting with the hybrids. But what is that plan? I don't think it's for immortality. I don't think it's for money. I don't think it's for him to have a conversation with someone smarter than himself. I think it has to do with some type of trauma in his past that he's trying to heal. Something that's paining him that he wants a solution to. This is a major question that definitely needs to get answered by the end of the season. But what's my answer? I think he knows some facts about the specimens due to the inside man he has on the ship. I think he wants the intelligence of T.Ocellus. And somehow he's going to use that intelligence for his benefit. That is, unless T.Ocellus kills him first. We'll have to see how that plays out. And with that, we just went over the 6 most important questions that Alien Earth Episode 5 asks us. What is T.Ocellus trying to do? Why did the crew keep making mistakes? What's left of Morrow's humanity? Is Zevari too human? What did the crew give up for a paycheck? And what is Kavalier really after? While I'm confident in these answers, I'm still always open to theorize. That's like the most fun thing to do with the show. And that's where you come in. What answers do you have for these questions? And what theories do you have with where the show is going to go? Leave those below or drop them in the Real Spot Discord if you want other people to talk to, because breaking down Alien Earth is just so much fun. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Until next week's episode, I'll see ya.